Hello, fabulous TAs. Having difficulty saying no to requests for further help as a TA is something I've had many conversations about over the years. We all know that schools are overstretched, but sometimes enough is enough and we just want to say, sorry, I can't. So in this video, we will look at some scenarios that will be familiar to you and explore if there are any justifications to saying no. Meet Lucy, a TA who's passionate about her work. Recently, she's been asked to run an after school art club in addition to her regular duties. Lucy is concerned about the effect this extra responsibility will have on the rest of her work. So, what justifications could Lucy have for saying no in this instance? Well, the first is disruption of professional focus. Her primary role is to support classroom activities and student learning during school hours. Taking on extracurricular activity could disrupt her focus and energy. 2. Lack of expertise. While Lucy appreciates art, she doesn't feel she has the expertise to run a club, fearing it might not provide the value students deserve. And 3. Negative impact on mental health. Lucy values her time outside work for personal development and rest. Running an after school club would extend her workday and potentially have a negative impact on Lucy's mental health. Meet Jamal, a TA who's been asked to help with extensive administrative tasks for an upcoming school event. Whilst he appreciates someone has to carry out these tasks, Jamal is concerned about how well the students he works with will cope without his support. So, what justifications could Jamal have for saying no in this instance? The first is reduced availability. Jamal's main responsibility is to provide educational support to some vulnerable students. Administrative tasks would significantly reduce his availability to work directly with these students. 2. Not best use of his skills. His skills are best used in educational activities. While he's willing to help, Jamal is concerned that these tasks won't make the best use of his abilities. 3. Potential repercussions. Taking on these tasks could cause the students Jamal usually works with to struggle without his support, and for some of them, that could lead to behaviour issues and exclusions. Meet Aisha, who's frequently asked to cover for teachers with little notice. Aisha enjoys teaching the whole class, but finds the last minute nature of it tricky to deal with. So, what justifications could Aisha have for saying no in this instance? 1. Inadequate preparation. Cover teaching requires preparation to effectively manage a classroom and deliver lessons. Last minute requests don't allow Aisha the time she needs to prepare. 2. Lack of consistency for students. In her role as a TA, Aisha is responsible for several intervention groups. Being used so often to cover for absent teachers means that students are missing out on their additional learning with her. And 3. Hinders professional development. Aisha is currently focused on developing her skills in educational support. Frequent cover teaching pulls her away from this focus, hindering her personal growth. So, as demonstrated through the experiences of Aisha, Jamal, and Lucy, it's vital for TAs to establish clear boundaries. It ensures they can dedicate themselves fully to their primary role of supporting student learning and maintaining their own well-being. Saying no to additional requests allows you to say yes to your students, your well-being, and your personal and your professional growth. But despite believing there are justifications for saying no, why is it that you still struggle? Well, that's because it's currently not in your control. It's a deep rooted habit, which means that your brain is literally programmed to say yes, even when you consciously know it would be more sensible to say no. Before we move on to a solution, though, I want to say that some of you might fear that if you say no, your job could be made tricky. And if that is the case, I would not tell you to ignore that possibility. What you will need to do in that situation is look for smaller things that you find yourself taking on and think about saying no to them. In that way, you will reduce your workload. It won't be sort of an immediate effect because it will be lots of maybe little things, but that's certainly the way to go if you fear that saying no could make things difficult at work. So now you know that saying yes is a deep-rooted habit, which means that your brain is literally programmed to say yes, even when you consciously know it would be more sensible to say no. How can you prepare yourself and your brain for creating the new habit of saying no? And I don't mean saying no to everything, but saying no when you genuinely feel you need to. Well, it's about understanding how your brain has been conditioned from a very early age to say yes. It's about understanding, therefore, that saying yes is a habit. And it's about understanding that in order to say no more often, you need to break the habit of saying yes and create a new habit of saying no. And that's where this week's valuable TA in Control guide comes in. In it, I explain why you say yes, how to say no more often, how to say no politely, and what to do when saying no isn't possible. And it's only £2.40. So let's look at it in a little more detail. It explains why you say yes and how to say no more often. It also explains how to get yourself into the habit of saying no when you need to. It gives you 10 ways to say no politely but firmly and in a way that should not upset anyone. And it gives you 5 strategies for when saying no just isn't possible. We've all been there, haven't we? You realise, you're being asked by senior leadership to take on this extra responsibility. So you can't say no, you've got to say yes. Well, I give you some strategies for so that it's not overwhelming. It's about working out what it is you need to do, what your priorities are, and what questions to ask. In this way, you will not only become very familiar with how and when to say no, it will also enable you to feel more in control. So if you are fed up with having too much on your plate, take a look at my How Do I Say Yes Less guide via the link in the description section below this video. And if you belong to my free resource hub, you'll get the chance to buy this guide for half price because I'm always giving out half price vouchers. And my resource hub was formerly my book club. All my guides are featured in my TA in Control Etsy shop, which is a secure platform used by hundreds of thousands of people. And at the time of recording this video, many of my guides are currently at a super low price of £2.40 each. And as you can see, I have a 4.9 star rating. And as I record this video, my sales have risen to 279. And as I mentioned before, if you belong to my free resource hub, I'm always giving out half price vouchers. So with all that being said, you'll find links to my guide and my free resource hub in the description section below this video. Here's how to get to the description section if you're not sure. On your phone, tap on the little V under the video to expand the description section. And on your laptop, click on Show More to expand the description section. And I've given you arrows to show where to tap and click. Thank you for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so that you know when I've created a new video to help TAs work at your most confident best.